What's up everybody, it's James again. Like many of us, I have beaten every Resident Evil game and studied the lore pretty intensively. So when RE8 came out, I studied quite a bit of it during my first playthrough. So I recently beat it and wanted to discuss a little bit about the weird discovery in the final after credits ending of Village. Now before we begin, please note that I am speaking of some major spoilers for Resident Evil 7 and 8. So if you don't want to be spoiled, now is your chance to click off the video. Still here? Alright, let's begin. Once the credits of RE8 finish, we are greeted by a cutscene showing an older Rose who seems to be a teenager. She visits her father's grave in an emotional scene on his birthday, and eventually a black car comes and picks her up. The man who picks her up, which I will call Agent Man, says that they have a situation and then jokingly calls her Evelyn, which is pretty insensitive and kind of fucked up, honestly. So Rose understandably gets pissed and tells him that she can show him things that even Chris doesn't know about, referring to her powers. So, by now we know the following. Rose is older, but by how much we aren't sure. Either this is shortly after Village and Rose is aging quickly like Evelyn did, or this is in human years she is aging in, and it's like 18 years or so later. We know that Rose has powers and is aware that she has them. We know that Rose is being used for situations, which likely means that she has good control over said powers. Due to the fact that the Agent Man says she's like him, meaning her dad Ethan, then we know that the Agent Man likely belongs to the same group that Chris does. Agent Man 2 also states over the phone, walkie-talkie, radio, whatever, that they have a clear shot when Rose gets upset. So Rose is seen as a threat if she gets into an uncontrollable state or mutation. Then we see them drive away, but we see someone walking towards them. And this is where it gets interesting. So a recent discovery was made by use of a FreeCam mod to show that the character walking towards them was none other than Ethan himself. His cutscene model to be specific, since his in-game model literally doesn't have a head. Now this is some maybe sort of asset reuse, or is it an Easter egg, or is it lore relevant? Well, I personally subscribe to the idea that it is indeed lore relevant. So let me explain my thoughts here, and feel free to correct me in the comments if I'm inaccurate on anything, because I'm kind of doing this off the top of my head. So, we learn from Miranda in Village that the Megamycete catalogs and decompiles a human's consciousness upon death. This is the same avenue in which her daughter Eva, that died from the Spanish flu 100 years prior, is potentially able to be reborn or resurrected via a vessel. We now know that after many experiments, each individual she experimented on was not a suitable vessel for Eva. During the 100-year period sometime, a company approached Miranda to help with her studies. How this company found out, I'm guessing, is maybe due to Spencer and his realizations of Miranda's work when he was there at the village. I'm guessing maybe when him and Marcus and all them were making Umbrella, maybe he spoke about something, who knows. And then eventually those events led to the creation of Evelyn as we see in Resident Evil 7. It's also possible that maybe it wasn't Spencer. You know, it all depends on when all of this happened, like what time frame in the storyline. So, from Evelyn, we learned that Ethan actually died in RE7 when Jack literally welcomed him to the family. This then opens up the possibility that Ethan's consciousness was cataloged by the Megamycete. This is also likely why that cutscene can happen in RE7 when he speaks to Jack, but that's for another time. So Ethan is resurrected via the mold and has a child with Mia, blah 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 blah. Then RE8 happens. So after having a royal rumble with Miranda, Ethan starts to decompose because I'm guessing that since Miranda was blessed by the Megamycete with some of its powers, then Ethan had trouble surviving when she perished, which kind of starts the whole process of him breaking down. Now, in the cutscene before the fight with Miranda, we see that her intention of merging Rose with the Megamycete to eventually lead her to resurrecting as her daughter Eva actually happens. So at this point, Rose was born from moldy boy Ethan and Mia, who was infected by Evelyn at one point. She is cured, but we kind of see her get reinfected, I believe, on the ship when she closes the door on Ethan. So what does all this hoo-ha mean? Since Miranda tells us that Rose is like the perfected form of Evelyn, that then means that she likely has the same powers as Evelyn. So since a stage of Evelyn's powers is hallucinations when she infects somebody, that then means that Rose could potentially create hallucinations as well. But the difference here is that Rose is merged with the Megamycete. So, since Rose loves her dad so much, maybe it's possible that Rose can materialize Ethan in her mind as some sort of hallucination, just so she can experience his presence. This is also embellished by the fact that when the Agent Man tells her she's a lot like him, she says that she knows, literally because she does, since she can manifest his entire looks and persona as a hallucination for herself. So yeah, that's kinda it. I kinda like this because it fits pretty well with all the different lore bits, and it's kinda cute too. Like, it's kind of a nice happy ending in a way. So yeah, what do you think? Could it just be an asset reuse? Or something more? Let me know. Anyway, shout out to Nicole Tompkins, Susie the Sphere Hunter, Residents of Evil, Jeff Shine, Neil Newbon, Maximilian Dude, and everyone else. Y'all rock. And as always, thanks for watching.